Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nora and thank you so much for watching. Before we jump into today's video, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow your girl on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, because you already know we're growing the family across all platforms. We are back with another fashion trends video, and we are talking all things spring season. Okay, we are talking all things spring fashion trends for 2024. Now, I feel like in the past I've usually done it for the entire year, and then sometimes I do different seasons. So I think this year we're gonna try to do one of these videos for every season. If you all prefer me just doing one at the top of the year, or if you do like multiple videos kind of like this throughout the year, comment down below, let me know what you think. Obviously I wanna make sure I am producing content that y'all actually wanna see, but I wanted to put together this video because again, y'all know I am a lover of fashion, a lover of personal style. I also think it's fun and cool to kind of see what's trending, what are the fashion magazines, fashion blogs, the fashion girlies, you know, on the internet talking about in terms of what's gonna be hot and trending for the new season. Like I always say, do not feel like these videos are pretty much saying that you're not putting that shit on and you're not turning looks if you're not actually wearing, you know, the things that I mentioned in these videos. Definitely not the purpose. This is a lot more fun, lighthearted content to, again, just kind of share what's hot, what's trending right now. Take what you will. Some of them you might love, some of them you might not. And actually, I think this is the first time I'm even including a couple trends like even I'm not really that excited about. I feel like traditionally when I talk about these trends, they're usually things that I'm excited about or things that I'm already like wearing and styling, or even things I want to try out. And I figured we'd mix it up. So I'm sharing actually a couple on here that are gonna be really, really big, but I know for me, Norah Justin, we're probably gonna skip out on some of these. So, long ass intro, as always. Y'all know I like to talk, but hopefully you enjoy this video. Let's jump right in. All right, back at it again with my handy dandy cell phone. Y'all already know I like to take notes and have things here in front of me. And then obviously this is not like an actual styling try on video, but I will have pictures and just like images here on screen to kind of explain, you know, the different trends a little bit more, give you some visuals, if you will, so you can kind of see how folks are gonna be styling these different trends. And to kick us off, we're actually gonna start with the one that I'm not excited about. I'm not excited about this. It is not a trend that I am intrigued by. Like honestly, I have no interest in putting this in my closet. But needless to say, it's huge. And it is ballet flats. Okay, listen. I feel like this was kind of my sentiment around loafers as well, even though loafers ultimately started to grow on me. I never purchased any, but as a private school girl who wore uniform literally from 1st grade through 12th grade, it's just something about the ballet flat that just, you know, the PTSD, the trauma, right? Like wearing ballet flats with my uniform, it was cutesy, it was girly, it worked, right? And for me personally, it's just not something that I really gravitate to. If I'm wearing a flat shoe, I am more than likely gonna be in a sneaker or maybe like a flat boot or something platform, if you will. But I'm not really someone who gravitates to flats anyways to begin with. Honestly, I would much rather be in a heel, a strappy sandal, or a regular sandal. Like I am definitely not someone who really is into flats anyways, but she's huge, okay? The ballet flat is everywhere. You are going to find a lot of your luxury, you know, fashion houses putting out their versions of it. Chanel, Alaya had a really, really popular mesh one. You'll also see like Prada's doing kind of their rendition, Gucci, and then definitely in the high street fast fashion realm as well. The girls are loving the ballet flat. I don't know, I don't have too much to say around it just because again, it's not a fashion trend that I'm excited about. It's not something that I'm gonna be wearing or styling, but the ballet flat is huge. And you know what, I will say, if you are someone who isn't super into sneakers, or if you are wearing something a little bit more chic and elevated and you don't quite want to do a heel, I do understand the purpose for the ballet flat. And I do think, you know, if that's kind of the situation you're in, this might be a great shoe option for you. Again, for me personally, is the ballet flat something I'm going to be venturing off into again, you know, pulling it from the archives? No, definitely not. I always love including a color in these fashion trend videos. Y'all know red has had a moment, honestly, the last like year and a half, 2 years. We always see green kind of doing a lot of really cool numbers out there on the runways. And this year you are going to see a lot of like icy sky blue tones. And believe it or not, I'm really excited about this one, okay? Again, as someone who doesn't wear a lot of color, I do think this specific tone of blue is gonna be gorgeous, especially going into the spring season. You know, when you're thinking about a lot of lighter pastel colors, I think blue is a really cool, subtle way to venture into that. You know, if you're not someone who likes to wear super bold colors, but you do wanna introduce a little bit more color and life into your wardrobes, I feel like blue is gonna be really, really fun. And again, specifically this kind of icy sky blue, if you will. I feel like for me, I'm really gonna play with this color in terms of maybe outerwear. I could see it with like oversized blazers, jackets. I really would love to see a pair of like trousers, if you will, maybe even just like some regular oversized trousers. I could also see this obviously with like linen pants, which I think would be stunning. And something just about the sky icy blue already feels so airy, right? Which I feel like when you're going into spring seasons, that's kind of what we think about anyways. Lightweight, airy, flowing, not super restrictive. And I'm excited about this color. I feel like we have seen blue in like the past, you know, few years, but usually it's a little bit more of like a cobalt blue. It's a little bit more of like an electric blue, a little bit bolder, if you will, in terms of the blues that I feel like we've seen most recently in fashion. So I think this is gonna be really fun. I think a lot of my girly girls are gonna love this, and also the folks that do like neutrals and don't usually play with color a lot. So this is giving me, you know, some inspo and just like some kind of motivation to venture out a little bit and introduce a little bit more color. All right, our next trend isn't super new, but I think it's gonna be a little bit more targeted and focused going into this spring season, and that is going to be sheer, okay? Sheer items, sheer materials. Now, I feel like we talked about sheer clothing, if you will, over the last couple years, but it was definitely leaning more mesh, like true mesh. And when I think of mesh, obviously kind of like I mentioned a little bit earlier, you know, those Alaya Ballet Flats, it's usually a little bit more of like an edgy type of look, if you will. A lot of the items that I have that I would consider more mesh definitely are usually in like my blacks, my browns, darker colors, and add a little bit more of an edgy piece to my looks and outfits. Now this year, you're not gonna see so much mesh where it's truthfully gonna be more sheer items. I do feel like we started to see a sprinkle of this towards the end of last year. Definitely at like Zara and H&M, I saw a lot of like flowy sheer midi skirts, maxi skirts as well. Definitely have seen the sheer in tops, so a lot of really beautiful like chiffon tops, which I think are gonna be great. I really love the sheer trend. I think this is another really good kind of like airy, lightweight feel to spring fashion. When I go into spring and summer months, there's just something, again, about kind of like this renewal type of energy. The weather is warming up that I just wanna feel very like feminine and girly and chic and lightweight. And I feel like a lot of these trends, and especially with the sheer kind of fabrics and materials, I think that's gonna be beautiful going into 2024 spring fashion season. All right, so this next trend I feel like is a little bit, not controversial, but I think there are either gonna be people who love this trend or some people that are gonna be completely like, not interested, this one is not for me. And it's gonna be shorts, and not just any type of shorts, right? We're talking hot pants, okay? We're talking short Daisy Duke, not even Daisy Duke. I feel like some of them I've seen are even shorter than what we would call like our traditional Daisy Duke style, but shorts, hot pants are going to be all the rage, right? And I think this is gonna be a really fun one. I do think it's a little bit more daring. I do feel like you're gonna be kind of like towing the line with this one, because again, the shorts, at least from the ones I've seen, are small, baby, okay? They are small. And I know for a lot of people that might be a little bit, you know, curvier, that might have, you know, a little bit more blessed in the back area and have a little bit more booty. Y'all know I'm a little bit delusional and like to say big body bends don't crash over here, you know, all these curves. But I feel like some people might feel like this trend is not really for them. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think this is a trend that everyone can really play with. But again, I think paying attention to cuts and silhouettes of things and trying things on to see what you feel comfortable in and what is most flattering on your body, your shape, your figure as well. So I would definitely say for some folks who might be a little bit curvier, you know, maybe have, you know, a larger butt area and want to try this trend out, but you also don't want to feel tacky. You don't want to feel like you're like too out there, too scandalous. Like, okay, where am I actually going to wear this with my booty cheeks hanging out? Blazers, right? Like, I think you could definitely do a really cool oversized blazer over top so that you get a little bit of coverage in the back. So again, you don't feel like you're super exposed, but you still get to see the look and the trend of the hot pants from the front, right? So of course, I could definitely see this with like bodysuits, tank tops. I personally probably wouldn't do anything cropped with a hot pant just because I am someone who really enjoys the rule of thumb that if you are showing a lot of leg, cover up a little bit up top. So if you are trying to show any skin up top, I'd probably stick a little bit more just like tank tops or like a cutoff, like muscle tee or something like that. But I probably wouldn't do crop tops with hot pants. I don't know, it's just kind of giving Pampers, right? Huggies, like I would love like a sheer tight with like a really cool like piping detail along the back. Very burlesque, you know, type of feel. That's kind of like what my thought is. I think that would look really, really sexy. A really cool like sheer tight hot pants, a pump, and then maybe do like a tank top and a blazer, right? I think that would be a really, really cool way to dress it up. But I do think some form of like tights is a really cool way to do this. I think it will just make a lot of people feel a little bit more comfortable. I think it'll be a little bit more practical in some places because again, I know sometimes with some of these hot pants, you're like, where the hell am I wearing this, right? Like, let's be so fucking for real, where am I actually wearing this? I think with some tights or something underneath is gonna make it a little bit more wearable in a lot of different situations, if you will. All right, and for our next trend, we are gonna be discussing roses, okay? Roses. And again, I don't know, something about spring and florals, groundbreaking. Let me know down below. Florals for spring, how groundbreaking. Comment down below and let me know if you know where that quote is from. But I'm into it, right? When I think of roses, the first kind of brand I really think about is Magda Butrym. I always feel like I butcher that name, but Magda Butrym. I feel like they do roses a lot, right? They had those really popular kind of like satin open toe heels that had like the rose detail on the front, and I feel like a lot of, you know, her ready to wear has like a rose detail. And as a certified lover girl, okay, lover girl, flower girl, I am here for it, okay? Roses are some of my favorite flowers, and I'm really excited to just see a little bit more of that rose detail on clothing. Now, this is not gonna be your limited to florals, right? It's not gonna feel juvenile, and I feel like that's something a lot of people sometimes think when they think florals, is like, okay, is it either gonna be super juvenile and young, or am I gonna look like my grandmother, right? And like, no shade to my grandmother, but like, I don't wanna be wearing what she's wearing, right? Unless it's heat, and sometimes, anyways, I don't wanna be looking like that quite yet, you know what I'm saying? So you still want it to be young, youthful, and sexy, and I have already seen a lot of different pieces that I feel like they've done the rose trend really, really well. Now, if you're not someone who wants to necessarily wear like a full-blown like bodycon rose printed dress, you could also do rose with your accessories as well, right? So like today, obviously I have a choker. Chokers are definitely really big. Necklaces are really big. So you could do something that has like a really cool rose detail. You could definitely do a purse that has, you know, your rose details. Obviously you can go all the way high end and think about like Chanel that does their, you know, kind of like camellia flower rose type of purse. I think accessories are gonna be another really cool way to kind of incorporate this into your wardrobe. Like I mentioned, Magda had those heels with a little rose detail at the front. I have seen a lot of other fast fashion high street brands kind of do their own rendition of this as well. So I feel like Carrie Bradshaw would love the rose trend. You know what I'm saying? Like I could just see her loving this. Moving right along to trend number 6, and we have Fringe, okay? And let me tell you something, okay? When I'm filming this video, Beyonce just released Cowboy Carter, okay? First off, chef's kiss. I mean, that woman's brain, the genius you are, Beyonce, I love you forever and a day. And then of course now she drops Cowboy Carter. Again, the genius that she is. To me, honestly, it's like no surprise that Fringe is going to be all the rage this year. And I am here for it. I'm here for it. It's so funny to think about a lot of these trends. These are things that I probably would never gravitate to. I would not have purchased these things 5-7 years ago. But I feel like now, the older that I'm getting, again, I do definitely have my go-to, my capsule wardrobe, if you will, but I'm definitely experimenting with fashion a little bit more. And that's where I say trends are fun, because I think it gives you an opportunity to experiment and try things that you normally wouldn't. And Fringe is definitely something I normally wouldn't gravitate to, but I am here for it, okay? I've loved seeing different jackets and the way that some of these brands are doing their take on Fringe with it. So whether it is denim jackets, I have seen a lot of really good suede jackets with the Fringe detail. I have seen leather jackets with like gorgeous Fringe detail coming out from the arms. Like, this, I just feel like Fringe is gonna be such a trend for like that girl that is not afraid to like have all eyes on her, because again, I feel like this is not for the quiet folks. And who knows, maybe it is, right? Maybe you love it and you're so quiet, but this is definitely giving extrovert, okay? This is giving extrovert, this is giving movement. As someone who loves to dance, like I could just see the Fringe and again, the movement wearing these pieces. I am excited for Fringe. Can you tell? Can you tell? Is it obvious that I'm excited for Fringe? Probably of all the trends that we are gonna talk about today, I know I said I was really pumped about blue and the sheer stuff. Fringe. I am so excited to wear and style Fringe this year. I think again, it's gonna kind of push me a little bit outside of my comfort zone. And I'm excited to style it different ways. Like I don't want folks, I know I keep talking about Cowboy Carter, you know, the new album and just cowboy trends. I don't think you have to automatically do this in like a cowboy Western type of feel. I need to brainstorm a little bit around that, but I think that's where it's gonna get really, really fun, is playing with this trend a little bit more and not going the kind of like obvious cowboy Western route. Hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. Again, I know sometimes me, I get really passionate and excited about fashion that I just be chatting, okay? Chatting, flapping gums, but Fringe, I think is gonna be really, really fun. If there's anything that I think of all these trends that I think we all should be trying together, is Fringe. So let's share. What items are we buying? What pieces are we picking up? How are we gonna style it for this spring season? Our next trend is going to be elevated basics. And I'm here for this trend, okay? I am here for this trend. If you have been following along on my channel for a while, I used to do a series called 5 Ways to Style, and I did a video on jeans and a cute top, right? All of us women can probably think of a time where you're like, I don't really know what to wear. You call your girls, you guys are going out and it's like, girl, what you wearing tonight? Oh, I don't really know. Probably just like jeans and a cute top, right? And all of us in our mind kind of have our own idea of what that cute top is. And I feel like elevated basics are just like something everyone needs in their wardrobe. Y'all know I love buying a good tank top, t-shirt, turtleneck that is pretty simple but might have like a little something extra, right? And if that little something might be a little logo, or if it has an interesting cutout, or maybe, you know, the neckline is a little bit different, right? Like these are things that I love to pick up because they're simple enough that they're easy to style. You get a lot of use and a lot of wear out them, but they're a little bit elevated. They're a little bit more than just a traditional white t-shirt or white tank top. If y'all remember my top that I got from Vivienne Westwood, I don't think I've like featured it too much here on this channel, but again, I'll have some pictures and videos. This is a perfect example of that, right? This is just your standard, regular, degular navy blue t-shirt. It is literally a cotton t-shirt, but they added the little Vivienne Westwood logo, and then the neckline just has this really kind of interesting and elevated type of detailing there, right? It's a little bit structured, it's a little bit asymmetrical, and then you've got a little bit of bunching and ruching kind of at the top. It's a t-shirt with a little bit more, if you will. Again, an elevated basic. There is this tank top that has been going viral, and I absolutely love the tank top. And I can't remember the brand off the top of my head, so let me see if I can pull it up on Essence, because she's been in my cart for a while, okay? And we might pull the trigger. And actually she is from Y Project, and I'll have a picture here on screen. This is, again, another really good example of an elevated basic, because at first glance you're like, white tank top, cool, great, well, what's the big deal? But it has this really cool kind of like translucent strap kind of on the front. So it's a tank top, but then you look at it and you're like, oh, that's interesting. Like, how is it staying up? Is it just like kind of clasping onto the body? Like you're a little bit confused on how the person is wearing the tank top, but it's just this clear little strap detail that it has at the front that elevates it and makes it a little bit more than your standard traditional tank top. pricey, of course. I know there are gonna be some people who might look this tank top up and be like, girl, $200 for a tank top? But for me, as someone who wears basics very often and I love them to style and layer, this is something I would get a lot of use out of. I think elevated basics are gonna be really, really cool this year. I think this is gonna be perfect for people who, again, like to keep their outfits a little bit more, I don't wanna say simple, because not necessarily simple, but people that are just like love a classic, really chic look, don't really like loud, you know, detailing. If you're someone who doesn't want the rose trend, the elevated basic trend, I think is gonna be perfect for you, and I love this. I think this is a really cool way to play with fashion, but not having to step too much outside of your comfort zone. And again, I think these are gonna be items and pieces that a lot of us are gonna pick up that you are going to have for a very long time. All right, and for our last and final trend, and this one, I will say I'm kind of on the fence, right? Like there are some pieces that I'm like, I love that. Like I can definitely get with that. And then there are some other things that, again, the PTSD and the trauma as a private school, Catholic school girl, I'm just like, child, next, okay? But our final trend is going to be Prepcore, okay? The preppy core, the preppy items are back, all right? My millennials, y'all remember, Hollister, collared shirts, wearing two at the same time so you could see the two different colors, like, okay, we did anything as millennials, but that's kind of what we're thinking, but even a little bit more elevated. I'm also not surprised with this trend though, because I feel like right now we have seen such a huge rise of kind of like tennis fashion. I feel like there are a lot of like the YouTube content creator girlies that are in kind of the tennis world. So we've been seeing a lot more of that fashion as well. So you've got the pleated mini skirts, you've got the polos, you've got a lot of like the pinstripe details. Zara just actually rolled out a nice little collection that I think is gonna fit perfectly with this trend. And I have to say the way Zara did it is exactly how I would want to do it. Not, again, super, super young, not giving high school, not giving back like Hollister, Abercrombie days back then and like, you know, the 2000s. I feel like how they did this trend is exactly how I would want to style it. But Preppy Core, she is here, okay? She is here and she is going to be huge this year and this spring season. So get prepared to see a lot of our collared shirts, get prepared to see a lot of our, you know, mini skirts, pleated skirts. You're definitely gonna be seeing sneakers with like the chunky socks kind of like sitting on top. Preppy Core is here. We're gonna see a lot of vests. We're gonna see sweaters, you know, draped over the shoulders. Like Carlton, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would be thriving right now, okay? Hillary Banks might even be, you know, dabbling into this trend as well. And if you vibing with them also, this trend is for you. All right, y'all, well, that is it. That is all I've got for you. I think we wrapped up with 8 different trends, so hopefully not too much. I try not to overwhelm you all with these videos. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we're having fun. We're just talking about fashion, we're talking about style, but always remember, style is personal. Do what works for you, take what works for you, and if you're not interested in a trend, don't feel like you have to follow it. You know, make sure that when you are purchasing items, are we purchasing things that we're gonna wear for a while? Are these investment pieces? Before you pull the trigger and make that purchase, can you think of 3 different ways and 3 different outfits to wear it? Don't just buy things for the sake of buying things because you feel like you gotta keep up with the Joneses. Definitely don't, but I always hope these videos are entertainment, and if they are beneficial and resourceful as well, double thumbs up for me. But hope you all enjoyed this video. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, y'all. And don't forget, go stream Cowboy Carter. Giddy up.